How do we ensure that we don't fall into this kind of a situation? And that is by reflection. Overcome fear by reflecting. Reflecting on what? Reflecting on several things. Why are we here on this planet of dust? What have we come to achieve? Is all that we are working towards going to help us in the final scheme of things? Have we equipped ourselves in all that we are doing currently in order to achieve that? Are we investing disproportionate amount of times in things which are going to be left here, or are we investing sufficient time for that which will come with us? For those who are 40 and above, 50% of your active life is over. That is if we live to 80 years. Have we reflected on that? Like Swami used to talk about Ramakrishna Paramahamsa every evening at sunset. He used to shed tears saying that one more day is lost. The sun has set and I have not had the darshan of the Divine Mother. Do we reflect every single day when we go to bed of what kind of progress we have made in our spiritual journey? Of what kind of changes we need to bring about in our behavior, our patterns, our priorities? When my grandfather, maternal grandfather, Professor Shashank Shah, passed away in Boston, I was there at that time in 2015. I was reminded of these things that Swami had said. I was witness to that for the first time. That was the death. It was my first experience, very close experience with death. When his body was taken away in the ambulance after he passed away on the in the dusk hours of Narsimha Jayanti, which is a very auspicious time. And by the time the ambulance came and his body was taken, it was by 8:30 or 9 in the evening. The Swami's words rang in my ears because Swami said the first thing that will leave you when you leave this world is the property, the estate, the resources, the infrastructure, all that you have accumulated for your lifetime will be just left when you leave this world. 3 days later was his cremation. And there at the cremation time, his entire family, all the Sai Center members and several other well-wishers had come. There were about 200 to 300 people in the prayer session. And there, when his body was getting cremated, the other words of Swami rung in my ears, that the second set of things which will leave you will be your relatives, your relations, your friends. They will come only till your cremation. The third and the only thing that will come with you on your onward journey are the good and bad deeds that you have undertaken in your journey of life. Because that is the only thing, the only investment that will come with you when you leave this world and move to the next one. So how much time are we investing in this particular accumulation of the right kind of deeds that we need to do? And let me put a caveat here, that's conducting study circle, Sai spiritual education, bhajans, Narayan Seva, or any other service activity is not spiritual activity. It is service activity. Spiritual activity is only one. Swami said the only spiritual activity is to continuously live in the awareness that I am not this body. I am living inside this body. I am not this body. I am living in this body, living inside this body. This constant integrated awareness of our identity as not the body, but the indweller is the only spiritual practice that Swami has acknowledged as the real spiritual practice which each Sai devotee needs to qualify to achieve towards. Have we reflected on that? We usually shy away or run away from occasions where we need to be recalibrating our journey. We need to recalibrate our journey on an urgent basis. And I think this brings me to the last part of my presentation of how this reflection will effectively help us to understand that unity is divinity. How this identification that we are not the body, but we are the indweller is the first step in this journey of unity is divinity. I remember a couple of years earlier, the CIA of the United States of America had declassified documents belonging to the Bill Clinton era. In that, there was a 16-page dossier on Swami, his organization, his mission, his message, and several other things. The document is available for free download online. In that, among several political observations that they made, the All India President Shri Nimish Pandey had also given a talk based on that how well the CIA has captured the core of Swami's mission and message. In that, the CIA had very clearly said that Swami's message is universal, and it's so universal that people belonging to all religions are able to see the unity underlying the divine message of all regions, of all religions, of all times. So the first unity is divinity, is the understanding that the core message of all world religions is the same. In the last 5,000 years of recorded history, humanity has fought 15,000 big and small wars. Why? To pitch one religion against the other and show the supremacy of one over the other. Swami is among the only great spiritual masters who have woven the underlying unity in the message of divinity across religions. Swami shared on several occasions how the message of the acharyas of Sanatana Dharma, Adi Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, and Madhvacharya, who gave the philosophy of dualism, Advaita, non-dualism, Advaita, qualified non-dualism, Vishishta Advaita, and dualism, Dvaita, from the 8th century, 12th century, and 14th century AD. 8th century, 11th century, and 13th century AD is actually different facets of the same truth. Dvaita is philosophy of Madhvacharya, said that the relationship between the Jiva and God, Jiva and Parabrahman, is that of a servant and master. The servant and master do not share anything in common. The deliverance of the servant lies in serving the master. The Vishishta Advaita talks about the relationship between divinity and the individual, Jiva and Deva, as that between a father and a son, as that between a river and an ocean. Swami had explained, and there's a very nice discourse, the audio of that is also available on the Book Trust website. On 1st of October 1976, Swami explained the Vishishta Advaita philosophy using the example of the water cycle. The water of the oceans gets evaporated due to the sun, goes to the clouds, pours down, and through rivulets and eventually through rivers moves back into the ocean. Similarly, the Jiva has emanated from the Brahman and then through a series of events ultimately merges back into divinity. So you have identity with divinities, but you are distinct from it. And what is the way? Like Dvaita talked about service is the way to deliverance. Ramanujacharya talks about bhakti and prapatti, devotion and surrender, as the prerequisites for the final deliverance. And then, and the first is given is by Adi Shankaracharya, the philosophy of non-dualism, Advaita, which is captured in one sentence. Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya Jivo Brahmaiva Na Paraha. Brahman or Supreme Divinity is the only truth. This world is an illusion, and there is no difference between the individual and the divine. That is the essence of the message of Advaita. Swami said that these are the steps in the individual evolution of a spiritual aspirant. I am the servant of God. I am verily an aspect of God, and there is no difference between God and me. Swami compared this with the 3 stages of the evolution of Jesus Christ. Swami said that when Jesus first identified himself with the body, he said, I am the messenger of God. I am here to give the message of God. When he progressed and identified himself with the mind, he realized that he is verily the reflection of God and has the original attributes of divinity. So he said, I am the Son of God. Finally, when he identified himself with his soul or the Atman, he said, I and my Father are one. Swami compared that with the evolution of the prophet, who first said I am in the light. Then he said, the light is in me. And finally he said, I am the light. Swami said the message of all the three major world religions has the same undercurrent of the spiritual evolution of the individual through these three distinct stages. This unity is truly divinity. Second, the Purusha Suktam. Swami used to have the students, the Vedam group and the students learn and chant the Purusha Suktam almost every single day from 2003. I was there in those years. I had not learned the Purusha Suktam, but we chanted it so many times in Sai Kulwant Hall that each one of us had the Purusha Suktam by heart. The Purusha Suktam gives a very, very important message. In that, the entire creation is explained as verily the form of God. In that, there is one very common, very simple analogy. It says, Brahmanosya mukhamasita bahu rajanyakrutah uru tadat yadvaishya padmagrum shudro vajayata. The Brahmins came from the head, the Kshatriyas from the shoulders, the Vaishyas from the thighs, and the Shudras from the feet of the supreme divine being. Which means that all these four classifications of the roles that the ancient society was built on is verily different aspects of the supreme divinity. Can we say that the shoulders are less important and the feet are more important? Can we say the head is more important and the thighs are not important? Every part of the body has an important role to play. Similarly, every aspect of society has an important role to play. There is no distinction. It is all the same. This unity is divinity. There is no distinction of any caste. The caste system, which definitely degenerated and was misused by certain sections of the society for selfish interest, originally and scripturally was meant to communicate that each does according to his skills, abilities and capabilities. In the Bhagavad Gita also, Lord Krishna says, Chatur Varna Mayashritam Guna Karma Vibhagashah. I am the one who has created the four Varnas. Which are the Varnas? Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. On what on what basis? Guna Karma Vibhagashah. I have divided them based on their gunas and their karmas, their capabilities to deliver. He did not say Kula Dharma Vibhagashah. He did not say I have divided them based on their lineage, based on the birth, based on the category of society they come from. No. Your capabilities determine who you are, where you are. And this is the message given in the Bhagavad Gita as well as in the Purusha Suktam. And this unity of all strata of society as verily being the embodiments of divinity is truly unity, is divinity. I remember Swami used to point at his head, at his shoulders, at his thighs and at his feet when these verses were being chanted and communicate the message that verily everybody is an aspect of supreme divinity. The third part, in every saint's life, whether he goes through the Karma Marga, Bhakti Marga or Jnana Marga, the ultimate stage is the awareness of unity, is divinity. Tyagaraja in his famous composition said, Chimalo Brahmalo Shivakeshava Dulalo. You are there in the ant, you are there in Brahma, you are there in Shiva and Keshava, O Rama, you are in everybody. Unity is divinity. Narsi Mehta, the famous devotee saint poet of Gujarat, sang towards the end of his life, Vrikshama Bijatu, Bijama Vrikshatu, Ante to Hemano Ekano Ek, which means you are the seed in the tree. You are the tree in the seed. Ultimately, you are the very essence of all creation. Annamacharya used to sing, and this was sung in Swami's presence so many times, Brahma Mokkate, Parabrahma Mokkate. The Parabrahma is only one, whether seen in the lowest or the highest, whether seen in the animal or in the bird, whether seen in a pauper or a prince or a sinner or a saint, it is the same Parabrahman. There is no difference. This is the message of divinity. towards the end of Swami's physical sojourn, Swami continuously emphasized this message. What was that? I and you are one. I and you are one. I remember several times when he was sitting in the Kulwant hall, he used to be moved to tears when he used to say, I look at all of you and I feel so much of joy welling up in my heart. You know why? Because I see myself in all of you. And that love that one has for oneself, that love when you see yourself in all, and that divinity in all, you are able to experience that love towards all. This is unity is divinity. In fact, it is this essence of unity that is the cause of the entire process of our spiritual evolution. The journey of creation, Swami says, began with God willing. Ekoham bahusyam. I am one, let me become many. And this journey concludes with the assertion, Aham Brahmasmi. I am verily divinity. I am verily Brahman. So the journey which begins with separating oneself from oneself ends with identifying oneself with that original self. This unity is divinity. This is the process, this is the purpose of our entire spiritual journey. Swami had several times explained this to students, even in the summer course. Swami used to call it divine arithmetic. What is that? Typically in arithmetic, 3 minus 1 equals to, no prizes for guessing that. 2, of course, 3 minus 1 is 2. Swami used to say no. In spirituality, 3 minus 1 is 1. Now you will say how 3 minus 1 can be 1. So Swami used to give the example. What is the example? The example is that of a particular object, the mirror and the reflection. You see here, this is the object, this is the mirror, and this is the reflection in the object. So how many people are there? This is the individual, this is the mirror, and this is the reflection of the individual. So there are 3. Okay. Now you remove the mirror, only the individual is left. So the individual, the original viewer is God. The mirror is Prakriti or creation. And in that Prakriti or creation, this God is seen in its multifarious reflections. Those are all the individuals that we see in this multiplicity in diversity. The moment Prakriti, the moment that eluding power of Prakriti is removed, all the multiplicity, the variety, the diversity is gone, and this unity remains. This unity is divinity. So 3 minus 1 is equal to 1 as per the divine arithmetic. So this is the kind of reflection that we need to indulge in. This is the kind of recalibration that we need to indulge in. And all of this, you say all this extremely complex, difficult, all out there. Yes, agreed. Very difficult. So how do we start? Let us start with the basic level, individual level. There's this famous story of this man who was extremely busy. He was also going through work from home, like most of us are going through in the current scenario. So his child was going on asking him, Daddy do this, Daddy do that, etc., etc. So he decided that one particular day that he will get a complex puzzle for this kid to solve. And that puzzle was of the world map. Now this kid was small. He knew he'll never be able to finish this world map puzzle in a short period of time. So he gave it to him saying, I've got a gift for you and this is for you, and said that, okay, at least now for a couple of days, this kid will not harass me. In 20 minutes, this kid was back with the entire puzzle arranged. So this dad was wondering, this guy is not even started going to the middle school. He's in primary school. How did he ever know the political map of the world map, political world map? So he asked him, when did you learn the political world map the design of the political world map, the geography of the political world map? So he said, no, I don't know. He said, then how did you do this? So then the kid said, you know, Dad, he turned around the puzzle, and there was a figure of the human being. I set the human being right. I know exactly how a human being looks like. So I set the human being right, and on the other side, the world was set right. So this entire journey of setting the world right, of achieving our ultimate spiritual destiny, is by rectifying ourselves. How do we rectify ourselves? I'll conclude with the last example, which is very dear to me. Swami explained this very simply during a Trai Vrindavan conversation. All students were sitting around Swami, and the exams were over, the results were not yet out. And Swami asked the students, your exams are over? Yes, Swami. How did you do? Well? Good. How much you will get? A grade, O grade. O grade is highest distinction. A grade is a level lower than that. And Swami always used to encourage everybody to get O grade. Now, many times we think that why should a spiritual person be worried about what kind of marks he gets, or why should Swami as our guru be worried about how much marks we get in mundane subject papers. But the message there is that if you cannot bring in that amount of perfection and excellence in mundane tasks, how can you bring that amount of discipline and perfection to achieve excellence in spiritual tasks? So spirituality does not mean trivializing the mundane. Spirituality means that we do everything extremely well. So coming back to our story, this particular set of exams are over, and Swami said, okay, let me ask you a question. If you get 90 out of 100 in physics, 60 out of 100 in chemistry, and 20 out of 100 in mathematics, will you pass the exam? No. At least in the Indian system. Why? Because you need to get minimum passing marks in all the three papers to pass the examination. This is what the students told Swami when Swami said, why will? Swami said, okay, now I answer my other question. You get 90 out of 100 in speaking, 60 out of 100 in your behavior, 20 out of 100 in your thoughts. Will you pass in God's exam? There's a pin drop silence in the Trai Vrindavan, the Jula room as it is called. Swami used to sit on that beautiful red colored ornate Jula, and all the students and staff members used to sit around him. Pin drop silence. Swami said, just as you need passing marks in physics, chemistry and mathematics to clear your examinations of bachelor's in science, you need to get passing marks in your thought, word and deed in order to clear God's exams. What is this? Swami said, this is Trikarna Shuddhi. You are brilliant in giving public speeches. Everybody has become a public speaker. You are brilliant in even you're reasonably good in acting, portraying that you are a good individual. But in your thoughts, you're constantly criticizing. This fellow is like that. That lady did like this. I will teach him a lesson. I will take revenge. I will do this. I will do that. Negative, negative, negative all the time. Will you pass in God's exams? You have to get good marks in your thought, word and deed. This is the secret to unity, is divinity in our mundane spiritual journey. Not mundane, the baby steps of our spiritual journey will begin with this unity of thought, word and deed. Trikarna Shuddhi. Swami always used to say, sow a thought, reap an action. Sow an action, reap a tendency. Sow a tendency, reap a behavior. Sow a behavior, reap a destiny. Similarly, Swami used to say, when there is righteousness in the heart, there will be beauty in character. When there is beauty in character, there will be harmony in the home. And there is harmony in the home, there will be order in the nation. And there is order in the nation, there will be peace in the world. At the micro and macro level, at both levels, this unity of thought, word and deed is going to be the secret to our attaining divinity in the highest form, whether it is our individual destiny or our exalted goal of peace in the world. So this is the kind of fundamental focus we need to have in our journey. This concludes the 4-point formula that I wanted to share. Let us recall. F, how to overcome fear, the 4-point formula for overcoming fear. F, have faith in God. E, be equanimous in all situations. A, be action oriented. And R, constantly reflect on your progress in the journey that you need to work towards and the ultimate destination you need to achieve. In these days when we are going through such tough times, the world is going through quite a difficult situation. I read a joke recently circulating in social media that even before we can succeed in flattening the curve of the spread of the coronavirus, we would have been successful in flattening the curve of the economies of the world. That's going to be the kind of impact that this is going to have on the world scenario. While it may sound like a joke, but it's going to be a very, very tough time ahead. It's going to be more difficult, as they say, than the 2008 financial crisis. Some are comparing it to the 1929 Great Depression that America and the rest of the world suffered. And some are comparing the outcomes of the virus with the Spanish flu of the last century. And what does all this give? Fear. So let us not be a part of this group who is spreading fear. Let us be the part of this group which has faith in God to overcome fear, which is equanimous in all situations life to overcome fear, which is action oriented and sees that whatever they have to do is done with complete conviction and excellence to overcome fear, and which constantly reflects on their journey of spirituality to overcome fear. Let us use this time to recalibrate our spiritual journey, read Sai literature, spend dedicated time reading Sai literature, listen to the divine discourses of Swami, reflect on the kind of journey that we have undertaken till now and where we need to head. Stay safe, protect yourself, protect your families, wish well for the entire world. Let our prayer be that all beings in all the worlds be happy. May Swami shower his grace for the well being of all humanity. And let us use this time to emerge with greater vigor, with greater rigor, with greater conviction, with greater commitment in our own spiritual journey, so that we can make this travel to the planet of dust worthwhile, and we can achieve the mission statement: we are born so as not to be born again. Thank you very much.